Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of Cowboys Overtime here on StarTelegram.com, brought to you by Window Nation. I am Fort Worth Star Telegram columnist Mac Engel. He's Mr. Clarence E. Hill Jr. Clarence, it appears as if you are at the Star in Frisco. Is that correct?
I am at the Star in Frisco, the headquarters of the Cowboys, but not the headquarters of the Metroplex.
Ooh, that would be in Arlington at Globe Life Mall, where the Texas Rangers are World Series bound. I don't know if you know this, Clarence, but 6 months ago, I told you the Rangers were going to be in the World Series, and they made it.
You sit on a throne of lies. You sit on a throne of lies.
Yeah, do you have any evidence that says I didn't say that?
I have evidence that you did say it either. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You didn't say it.
That's true. I did not say that. In fact, when Las Vegas set the over-under on season win totals back in March, which was set at 81.5, I said take the under, because that means the Rangers were going to have to make a 14-game jump to go from 68 wins to 82 wins. And I was like, there's no way that's going to happen. That's too big of a jump. The math didn't work out. Well, forget math. The Rangers won 90 games. And now, after having defeated the Houston Astros in a 7-game American League Championship Series, they are the Texas State champs.
They are. What a wonderful story. I mean, you got the battle between Houston and Dallas, which is just right up my alley. And I just loved it. But for what the Rangers have done, losing those 100 games, and no one saw this coming, for them to come out of nowhere to make the World Series, it's a great story for the Metroplex, a great story for sports. And Garcia, my God, El Bombe.
He took the city of Houston, not just the Astros, but the entire city of Houston, put him on its lap, and just did pam, 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 pam. He kept hitting home runs, even when they weren't even pitching to him. He was hitting home runs. He was turning routine pop flies into home runs. He won the American League Championship Series MVP with a historic performance, both in terms of home runs and runs batted in. He was outstanding. And now the Rangers will play their old manager, Jeff Bannister, who is the bench coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks in the World Series, which begins on Friday night. Game 1 in Arlington. The overwhelming betting favorite to win this series are your Texas Rangers. Now, both of these franchises lost 100 games 2 years ago, but now they are in the World Series because winning 100 games is a terrible idea to win the World Series. Just getting in the playoffs and then getting red hot, there's your formula, which is what the Diamondbacks have done. No one saw this coming in Arizona either, especially as late as early August. They went on a big tear to get in. The back end of their bullpen is money in the bank good. If they get a lead in the 6th or 7th inning, the Rangers are in trouble. But Clarence, in terms of, the Rangers making it, I still get the sense, because I went to Game 5 in Arlington, which was a Friday, and it started at 4 o'clock. And a friend of mine asked me this question yesterday in Indiana. He said, if you had asked a fan in DFW right now, you can have 2 free tickets behind home plate for the Rangers World Series, or 2 free tickets to the 50-yard line for the Cowboys game on Sunday against the Rams here in Arlington, which one do you think they'd pick?
Right now it's the Rangers. I mean, come on. You're talking about a regular season game, it's the Rams. It's not a great Rams team.
They're the Rams, dude.
That's the Rams.
I was going to say about Game 5 of the ALCS, there are a couple thousand empty seats. I mean, legit. And I know
at that point, that's because people were disillusioned by the losses and thinking, I think there was some.
You think that's why it was? I mean, there's a million.
If there were empty seats, that's the only reason it was. There won't be any empty seats this Friday.
No doubt about it. And you know what? There was no empty seats in games 3 and 4, which were the first 2 home games for the Rangers in the American League Championship Series. And that place was packed. Standing room only was packed. But Game 5, standing room only wasn't packed, and there were a couple thousand empty seats. Now, not a lot. I don't want probably closer to 1,500. Well, in that scenario,
I've been looking at tickets. Standing room only right now. The stand is $500 and $600.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever the standard was in the last series doesn't apply to this series at all. But it's a great story. It's outstanding to watch. The crazy thing about this, Since the Cowboys won their last Super Bowl in 1995, the Dallas Stars have won a Stanley Cup. They have been to the Stanley Cup final. They have been to the Western Conference finals on multiple occasions. The Dallas Mavericks won an NBA title. They went to the conference finals several times. They went to another NBA finals and lost. And now the Rangers have been to 2 World Series, lost, and now another World Series, which has yet to be played. What does that say about the Dallas Cowboys? The fact that all these other teams, which came to town after the Cowboys were born, are having more success in that chunk of time, which is a long time now. We're not talking about 5 or 10 years, than the Cowboys have had, even though they've had pretty good seasons between then and now.
It says that the Cowboys remain the standard with the 5 Super Bowl rings. But to me, the lesson the Cowboys can learn and everybody can learn is that we think that there's no process to winning. You just win. We're thinking, oh, you got to get there. You got to take these steps. The Rangers just seized the moment. And when the Cowboys won in the 90s, it wasn't a process.
But no, it was, Clarence.
Okay, but what I'm saying is this. Let me finish.
All right.
They were supposed to, the year they won, they were a year away.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
They showed up and won in 92. They were supposed to be a year away.
That's right.
Okay. They were not the best team going into that season. They were not the favorite. They were a nice little team that was building something. But champions seized the moment. And to me, that's what the Cowboys have not done. When they've had their moment, they have not seized the moment. The Rangers seized the moment, okay?
Yep.
Dirk seized the moment. When it was time to win, when his winning time was there, he seized it. And that's what the Cowboys have to do. They have to seize the moment.
Speaking of the Cowboys, is there anything legitimately, and I know we always try to find threads to attach to the Cowboys or this sport and that sport, especially in this town. Is there legitimately anything the Cowboys can learn from the Rangers? Because you brought it up. The NFL's trade deadline, which is actually active these days, people are actually doing things. Hello, Philadelphia. It doesn't look like Jerry Jones and the Cowboys are interested in going to get better at through trades near the trade deadline, even though the Philadelphia Eagles for a second consecutive year have done it again. They went and traded a mid-round pick to the Tennessee Titans for safety Kevin Berard. And the Cowboys, meanwhile, no, we like our guys. And I've heard that sentence a lot in this town. Rick Carlisle used to say it all the time. The difference was when Rick would say, I like my team, he was lying through his teeth. The Cowboys, I think, believe it. Why won't they? If they think they see an area. Now, they did it a few years ago when they went and got Amari Cooper before they decided they didn't like him. But why won't they make these types of deals near the deadline when they identify an obvious need and then they don't go get it? They don't address it.
Jerry keeps talking about he doesn't want to get beat. He's always trying to win a deal now. For whatever reason, the deal has to come to me. I'm not going to initiate nothing because you initiate something, you don't get the best end of the bargain and all this stuff. He's worried about the wrong thing, and they're worried about balancing the budget. I cannot spend this money and do this because I got to sign Michael Parsons 3 years from now. No, you need to win now, okay? It's been 28 years, okay? Worry about 3 years from now, 3 years from now. You need to win now. You don't get trophies for balancing the budget and being the richest team in America and having a great budget and not being in salary cap hell. No one cares.
Amen. And it's salary with the NFL now.
I can't hear you, Matt.
Can you not hear me? Can you hear me now? Now? Steve, fix this.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Thank God. No. It's all right. I blame you. Is
pulled my
salary
headphones
cap
out.
hell real? They're getting ready to play a team on Sunday against the Rams, which are 3-4, that a couple of years ago went out and bought every big free agent, did all these things, got all these big guys, big contracts, and they won a Super Bowl. And they barely won it, but they won it. No one sits there and looks at the history and like, oh, they barely won it, so it didn't really count. No, you win it. Everything you did, it validates everything that you did. Do you think really? I understood 20 years ago salary cap hell was real. Do you think it's real anymore?
I mean, it's that's a yes and no because the cap continues to go up, and it's going to go up astronomically in the next few years because of all these new deals and all these new contracts. And you don't have. I mean, just like when I was advocating them trading for the receiver from the Raiders, and everybody's talking about he has this big salary cap. No, he doesn't. No, you don't have to worry about
Are you talking about Devontae Adams?
Devontae Adams
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I mean, they need to they just need to add and again, going back to the Rangers, they're a perfect example. They spent money to improve this team. They spent a lot of money. They didn't get a manager on the cheap. They spent money to put themselves in this situation, and it has paid off.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Okay, we got more to talk about here on Cowboys Overtime, but first, a word from our great friends at Window Nation.
Window Nation, the star of window replacement and the official window replacement partner of the Dallas Cowboys, can help you fill the house this season with savings. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and put no money down. Make no payments and pay no interest for 2 years. Fill your house for a customized authentic Dallas Cowboys jersey while supplies last. You could even help fill the Cowboys house and win tickets to a game. Call 866-95-NATION or visit windownation.com/Cowboys now for details. Window Nation, proud partner of your Dallas Cowboys.
Thank you, Window Nation. Back here on StarTelegram.com for Cowboys Overtime, where we are going to spend briefly talking about the World Series bound Texas Rangers in favor of the Cowboys on Cowboys Overtime. Go figure. Okay, the Cowboys had a bye last week. They didn't lose, so that's great. Clarence, you said it. This is statement time. Dun, dun, dun. We need like Godzilla walking across the screen. Steve, fix that. 4 of the next 6 games for your Dallas Cowboys are at the beautiful confines of AT&T Stadium, where your Cowboys have won 10 straight football games. And they've made a lot of money, which is great. Okay, starting on Sunday with, it's the Rams, dude. Nobody gets that except you, me, and 5 other people. That was a great quote from former Cowboys great Pac-Man Jones when he played for Wade Phillips. We were talking to Pac-Man at his locker, and before they were getting ready to play a bad Rams team all the way back when they were in St. Louis. And he said, it's the Rams, dude. And the Rams came out and kicked their ass like 5 days later. So that lives on forever. Okay, 4 of the next 6 are at home, at Philly, Giants, a bad Panthers team, the Washington Commanders. Apparently the players are sick of it. Seattle, and then at Philadelphia. Philadelphia here. Clarence? NFL is crazy. You say it a lot of time. It's a week-to-week leave. We've seen some big losses here by good teams recently. Detroit couldn't beat Baltimore. The 49ers suddenly can't win. The Eagles have a loss. So what do you think the Cowboys need to do realistically, record-wise, here in these next 6 games to show the world that they're a legit contender?
Well, if you look at the opponents, I mean, I think, this is the time for the Cowboys really to make a statement and assert themselves going into the last half of the season, let people know that they're for real. I mean, if I would have told you before the season they would have been 4-2 after the first 6 with 4 games on the road, considering the opponents, you'd have took it. The problem is that they're 4-2 and you're still mad about the loss of Arizona. It's one thing to lose to the 49ers. You didn't want to lose the 49ers 42-10, but it's one thing to lose the 49ers on the road. You can't lose to Arizona. You shouldn't have lost to Arizona. But record-wise, you'll take 4-2. Now, as you go forward, you need to be at least 5-1 after these 6 games. You have a Rams team that's game, but they're not very good. This is not the Super Bowl Rams. They're not the same Rams team of years ago. Certainly, you have a road game at Philly, which is a big statement game again. But that's at Philly. Let's give them that road game at Philly. But you got an 0-6 Carolina team. You got a bad Washington team. You got a Giants team. And a Seattle team that's a contender, but you get them at home. Before you got 10 days off and you get a home game, it's the Eagles will start a December, January stretch that's as tough as in the league with the Eagles and Detroit and at Miami and stuff like that. But this is the time for you to really assert yourself. So to me, you need to be at least 5-1.
5-1. Would it surprise you if they went 6-0? I mean, I'm looking at it, and the Eagles game in Philly is going to be tough. But
no, it's going to be tough. I'm not going to.
Hang on, hear me out. I think they can win it, and this is why I say it. They came really close, much closer than the final score indicated, of beating that Eagles team last year. Now, I know it was last year, but the Eagles went to the Super Bowl last year, and I know no one wants to say it. You will. Joy Taylor doesn't. Jalen Hurts is not Superman. I look how well Dallas played them last season when Cooper Rush was the quarterback. It was his last start before Dak Prescott came back, and they were in that game, even though they had a terrible first quarter, and they were in that game. They could have won it with Cooper Rush. And then they had a sack late. I think he had just one of those turnovers where he got hit as he was throwing. But they could have won that game. And I just had this feeling Dallas can win that game. It doesn't mean they will, but I don't think we're going to see. That's going to be a huge game. It'll be similar, not exactly the same as Dallas at San Francisco a couple weeks ago. And I have just had this feeling this is going to be the one-score game that Dallas can win, whereas the one in San Francisco was just a horror show, a slasher film without the fun. Am I crazy for thinking that?
You're not crazy for thinking that. Look at Dak's record against the Eagles. I mean, Dak is I think 8-3 in his career against the Eagles. Certainly, he has not lost to the Eagles lately. I mean, it is there for the taking for sure. But again, this is the time. You know, this is the time for them to make a statement and really do something. And it's right there in front of them. You know, if they go 6-0, as you're saying, you know, this town will be crazy going into December and January.
We'll lose our brains.
Second game against the Eagles. So, and you have that 10 days off and everything else before that final stretch. But just take care of business. Certainly take care of business at home, and hopefully you can steal one on the road for sure.
Clarence, you mentioned the loss to the Cardinals. If you had to guess, when the season ends,
they're going to wish they had that loss back.
Pardon?
They're going to wish they had that loss back.
Well, no, that's what I'm thinking. I'm looking at that. Of those two, they're going to lose a couple more games for the end of the season. There's no doubt about it. Probably 3 at least. But when they get to week 17 and the season's over, which of those two losses do you think will haunt them more, Cardinals or 49ers?
That's the Cardinals' loss.
Why do you say that?
Because that's the team they should beat. I mean, it's one thing on paper. I would say, the thing you're mad about with the 49ers game is that you lost 42-10, that you were non-competitive. But the one that haunts you the most is the Cardinals game, because that's a game you should have put in the bank, and should have won that game, because that's not a good team.
And the only reason I asked that question is because if you get to the end of the regular season, and this seemed unfathomable 2 weeks ago, but the 49ers have lost back-to-back games. Let's just pretend for a minute that the Cowboys and 49ers finished with the same regular season record. To me, that loss to San Francisco is going to hurt worse, because they'll have lost the head-to-head matchup and whatever tiebreaker that exists. And I forget the order of priority there. Anytime you lose a head-to-head where it can affect the tiebreaker, that's the one that kind of kicks you in the butt. But I think
but they won't have a head if they beat the Cardinals, then it would
I know,
be
right?
tied. Okay.
All right. So let's go on to the last topic here. Well, no, we've got one more after that. Per our favorite Hall of Fame general manager, Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones says his team is not on the same level as the 49ers or Eagles yet. Hear me out. Eagles are 6-1, just coming off of an impressive win against the Miami Dolphins. Cowboys are 4-2. Detroit now is 5-2 after getting just totally destroyed by the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, they got killed. And now the 49ers, the greatest team ever, 5-2, because they've lost consecutive games on the road against the 85 Bears defense, Myles Garrett and the Cleveland Browns. And now Kirk Cousins, who loves Creed, by the way, which means he's a Rangers fan, they lose to the Vikings. So what do you make of that? I mean, I know he's right, but that's not like a Jerry that's not like a Jerry comment. Why did he say it? I'm asking you to be Jerry mind reader.
I don't know why he said it. It was all confusing, because he said a number. He said we're upper echelon, but we're not on their level. We're not their upper echelon with them. And so he's trying to say the Cowboys are a contender, but they have not proven to be able to beat the 49ers, so he can't put them on the 49ers level, and they haven't played the Eagles yet, and the Eagles have been better, so not on their level, and so we'll see when they play. But those are things that you don't need to say. The problem is that you don't have to say everything that you're thinking all the time.
You're asking Jerry Jones to do that.
I mean, it's
kind of like asking you and I to live without breathing. I don't think it's going to work out.
Exactly. And the same goes with Michael Parsons. I mean, what do you? He's on in this podcast saying things that about whatever, and it's funny because a couple of weeks ago, I was at a appearance with Michael Parsons, and he was on these kids, and these kids were asking about Dak. He told them, y'all need to stay off social media. And somebody hit me up. Can somebody tell Michael Parsons to stay off social media?
You've said it. I want to be real clear. It's not like just you've said it. I mean, a lot of us are like, just put down the damn phone.
Yeah, and so he has his own podcast, and he's talking about how great the Eagles are. And what kills me is that this week on his podcast, Michael Parsons said that Travis Kelce is playing better in front of Taylor Swift because men play better when a beautiful woman is there. I'm like, the dude has won 2 titles. He's already a lock for the Hall of Fame before Taylor Swift showed up. But now he's playing good.
I'm so glad you mentioned this because.
But now he's playing good.
I was driving. You'll understand as you can relate to this. And your daughters are not big football fans, right?
They're Deion fans now. I don't know where it comes from. My daughter's calling me. Hey, I watched the Colorado game, and my youngest wants the primetime sunglasses. But then go on.
Okay. Well, there's like $60. Are they more than that?
That's
not bad. Okay. No. I'll just say, okay. So yesterday I'm driving my daughter back from school, and now all of a sudden she's a Travis Kelce fan. And she's buying, well, hang on. And here's the crazy part. She's like, well, he's been a lot better. And she's been around her football because of her mom and her dad. And she watches and she knows the rules, and she's got, she just knows what the game is. But she was convinced that Travis Kelce is a lot better because of Taylor Swift. And I'm like, he was already one of the best players ever at his position. I was like, the numbers are the numbers, but don't be fooling yourself that this guy all of a sudden found God because he had the stones to ask out Taylor Swift, and it's working out for now before he becomes the subject matter for her next 10 hit songs after he dumps her or she dumps him.
It is crazy. I remember my aunt, my 80-year-old aunt called me and was talking about football, and like, I got women in my family that watched football well before Taylor Smith showed up. Okay. Okay. I was in Houston this weekend, and I visited my other aunt, and I went by her house on Sunday morning before I left to come back to Dallas. She has church on the iPad, and she has the NFL on the TV. Okay, and we're talking about football, and we're talking about the Astros, Rangers, and she's sitting there watching both.
Okay, that's church.
Yes.
She's getting her Jesus on one screen, and then she's getting the other Jesus on the other screen.
Listen, that's the women in my family. And so this whole story about women are watching football with their dads and because of Taylor Swift. Who are these women?
I don't know. I'm not making it. Well, that's a different podcast. And believe me, that one would blow up. All right. Last one, we got to do some predictions. Cowboys host the Rams. It's the Rams, dude. The Rams are 3-4. Like Clarence said, not a good team. This is how you know this game is not a priority. Kickoff is at noon. The Cowboys never play noon kickoffs when they're even remotely good. Kickoff is at noon. I won't be there. I will be on a plane flying to Arizona. Cowboys are favored by 6.5 points. I don't have the records in front of me. Unfortunately, this notebook right here, this is where I keep all of our things like that and questions I might want to ask you. Yeah, I had it in the Rangers clubhouse after they won Game 7. I was like, I'll be all right. Well, at one point, I'm sitting there interviewing Jonah Hine, and then all of a sudden, whoosh, this gets covered in beer. It wasn't champagne. It was Budweiser. And so now a lot of this, I'm just kind of messy, and I don't really know what it says. I don't know if the Rangers drank Budweiser. I think they drank Bud Light. But anyways, that's a joke. Cowboys 6.5-point favorite. Who do you like?
It's the Rams, dude. Dallas, they take care of business at home. They play well at home. Look at the games early this season at home. I mean, you can say what you want about the Cowboys on the road and some things, but Dak and the Cowboys play well at home. That trend continues against the Rams for sure.
Okay, they win. Do they cover 6.5?
They definitely cover 6.5.
I think you're right. Give me in both ways. Now, let's go to the big one, the Texas Rangers versus the Arizona Diamondbacks. Rangers are a -178 favorite. Now, if I know this right, you can help me out. I'm terrible about this stuff. I can understand 4.5, 5.5. The -178, if I understand this right, you've got to bet $178 to make 100 back if you're going to bet on the Rangers to win the World Series. Is that right?
I guess so. All I know is I'm in trouble with Rangers fans on social media because last night I put up a poll and said, when the Rangers win, where should the parade be?
That's a totally legit question.
And I said proverbial. I said proverbial parade. I'm just spitballing here. Where should the parade be?
I was going to write about that. I don't know. There's no way the Vandegrift family, which is the reason why the Rangers
Exactly. It has to be in Arlington.
It has to be in Arlington.
It has to be in Arlington. But where do you parade down? You parade down Collins, come down Randall Mill. Where do you stage a parade to
Walmart?
end up
Walmart. The party's going to be at Walmart. No, I probably think it'll be, they'll block off roads and it should be, I don't know. But I mean, I'm telling you right now, that's going to be a PR disaster because everybody's going to make fun of it. Everybody. They're just going to crucify it.
And the traffic getting to Arlington, I mean, that'd be crazy.
Oh, there's another podcast we could do is traffic. I mean, it is taking me consistently an hour to get from Fort Worth to Globe Life consistently now. I hate it. I could sit here and whine about this forever.
That being said, I got the Rangers winning. There's no reason why the Rangers shouldn't win. Let's bring this thing home.
I agree. The curse of Nolan Ryan will end. Rangers will win in 6. Give me your prediction.
Rangers in 6.
Rangers in 6. All right. Cowboys Sunday against the Rams. It's the Rams, dude. Rangers game 1 on Friday night against the Diamondbacks. Games 1 and 2, Friday, Saturday. Series shifts to Arizona. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for 3, 4, and 5. Back to Texas if necessary the day after that on Friday. For all of your Cowboys, Rangers, and TCU coverage needs, don't forget about the great Horned Frogs and the season they're having.
Great.
Be sure to check us out on StarTelegram.com. He's Mr. Clarence E. Hill Jr. You can find him on social media. You can find me there too, but he's a lot more exciting. Fake show is what, Clarence?
Fake show is dead, but Wemby and the Mavericks start tonight.
That's right. Only second or third time ever. All 4 major pro sports franchises in Texas will be playing simultaneously. Mavs season starts tonight. Star season has started already. Cowboys, Rangers are still playing. All right, that's enough. Steve, thanks a lot. See you out next week on Cowboys Overtime. He's Clarence Hill. I'm Matt Engel. We're out.